Okay. Now, I realized when I got this all done and I was going through and making sure everything was trimmed correctly for um, uh, these demonstrations, it's like, oh man, these pieces are huge. What the heck was I doing? There are two different ways to glue these pieces down. And I went through after I cut everything and made sure. That's how I found out these pieces were too big, and I had to go in and just do a little trimming on each one of them. There are two different ways that you can do this. I'm going to suggest this method as opposed to this method. And what I've done here is, ooh, the glue is really cold. I've glued everything into place. I started with the top and I went to the back and I glued on the sides. And you can see some of my stuff doesn't fit exactly. I haven't glued any of this down yet. I've just glued portions of this down. This can prove a little trying. Mostly because I was starting to have some problems with the sides not adhering the way I wanted them to, so I added in some clamps. Now, if you're going to use clamps like this, you can see that there's some little indentation points. If you add a piece of paper underneath it, this is just a little scrap, and then put this on, you'll have much less. If I folded this maybe twice, there wouldn't be so much of a little indentation there. But like I said, these are demo pieces. So I'm going to put this back over here, and I'm going to recommend that you glue these down this way. I think this will be a much easier one. It does involve using something, this is the big book. Hi, anxiety. It does involve putting it underneath something flat for a little bit. But the glue dries pretty quickly. And then you would add glue to these areas where the folds are going to occur. And then use clamps. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove some of these. The one thing I always forget when I am making this piece is I forget to glue these down to the front side before I do anything else. That is a difficulty. So what we're going to do is we're not going to glue this one down yet. We're going to glue these three down so they're nice and flat, and then we're going to put it under weights. So let's add some glue. And I'm putting a what I consider a generous amount, but not like a huge amount. And using my little picks are getting a little shorter. I keep trimming off the gluey bits when they dry, and they get shorter and shorter and shorter. Okay, so that's a nice amount of glue. And I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to put it, remember, between the folds. Oops, get that out of the way. And make sure that you're even down here. I'm right on the line. You can see about how much I have here. Pressing it down. And when you're using this inexpensive, i.e. cheap, paper covered foam core from the dollar store, remember that this paper adheres to paper pretty quickly. So let's do a little wipe here. Wipe, 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 wipe. And I'm going to place this in the section it's supposed to go in, making sure it's not over any of the lines. And then let's do it with the next section. Okay. Okay, let's put that right there. And you want to make sure that things have adhered enough that, you know how sometimes when you press something down and you're gluing it, it'll kind of wiggle a little bit. You want it to not wiggle. Okay, now we know this is glued down nicely. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this book. I'm going to put the book on top of it. And I'm going to leave it there for 10 minutes or so. And then I'm going to come back and show you how to glue together the rest of the piece. Okay, I'll see you in the next part of this video.